The moment we hear the name of the Kauravas, the images of Duryodhana and Dushasana come to our minds. Unrighteousness, deceit, and the lust for power. But do you know that among those 100 brothers, there was one who stood up for righteousness, even if it meant going against his own family? He stood alone when the entire assembly remained silent. He stood by the truth, even if it meant sharing the fate of his own brothers. Sometimes, on the paths of history, we come across names whose wisdom shines brighter than their swords. They may not have been victors, but their decisions, their words, and their courage still echo through the dust of time. This is the story of one such Kaurava who was different from his 100 brothers. He recognized righteousness, raised his voice for the truth, and never compromised his conscience till the end. This is the tale of that forgotten warrior whom history never gave a place in its main narrative. This is the 10th chapter of the legendary warriors of the ages, Vikarna, the royal palace of Hastinapur, a place where power, opulence, and intrigue thrived together. Dhritarashtra and Gandhari had 100 sons, and Vikarna was the third among them. Duryodhana was his elder brother, and Dushasana was the second. Playing on the palace steps, he witnessed the face of politics from his very childhood. Rivalry among brothers, jealousy towards the Pandavas, and a longing for the throne. But Vikarna's nature was somewhat different. While Duryodhana was filled with anger and ambition, Vikarna was calm, thoughtful, and sensitive. He learned the art of weaponry from Dronacharya and Bheeshma. He was skilled in mace fighting, archery, and the art of chariot warfare. Bheeshma once said, "This boy is different from his brothers. There is a seed of righteousness within him." Among 100 brothers, he often found himself alone. Duryodhana and Karna shared a close bond, while Dushasana was always by his side. But for Vikarna, his greatest friend was his own conscience. That is why, later on, he did what no one else in the entire Kuru dynasty could do: raise the voice of righteousness in the assembly. The most tainted chapter of the Mahabharata was Dhritarashtra. Shakuni possessed the cunning of dice, while Yudhishthira was enamored with righteousness. One by one, he lost his kingdom, his wealth, his brothers, and even himself. In the end, Duryodhana said, "Now stake Draupadi." Dushasana's voice echoed in the assembly. "Draupadi has become a slave." And then that same Dushasana dragged her into the assembly. Draupadi wept and cried out, "Is this righteousness? Can someone who has already lost himself stake his wife?" Bheeshma, sitting in the assembly, remained silent. Dronacharya's eyes were cast down. Vidura protested in a low voice, but his words were suppressed. There was a heavy silence throughout the assembly. No one stood up for the dignity of a woman. But then came that voice, which is still considered the echo of righteousness today. That voice was Vikarna's. He said in front of everyone, "Yudhishthira has already lost himself in the game, so staking Draupadi is unrighteous. The insult of a woman will lead the Kuru dynasty to destruction." For a few moments, the entire court was stunned. Out of 100 brothers, only one spoke of righteousness. But Duryodhana burst out laughing. He looked at Vikarna and said, "You're still a child. What would you know of the scriptures?" Karna also mocked, "Vikarna, your words are making your bravery seem weak." But Vikarna remained steadfast. He said again, "If we remain silent today, this insult will burn our family tradition to ashes. Righteousness does not belong to anyone's side. Righteousness belongs only to the truth." His voice echoed in the assembly, but the majority drowned him out. Dushasana tried to disrobe Draupadi, and Lord Krishna protected her honor. That day, Draupadi's humiliation was stopped, but the destruction of the Kuru dynasty was sealed. On that very day, Vikarna's character became immortal, for in the ocean of unrighteousness, he alone stood on the boat of righteousness. Years later, the war of Kurukshetra took place. 18 Akshohini armies stood face to face. Duryodhana said to Vikarna, "Brother, today either we will win or we will be destroyed." Vikarna remained silent. There was a storm raging inside him. He knew that righteousness was with the Pandavas, and where Krishna is, victory is certain. Many times he tried to reason with Duryodhana, saying, "Brother, there is still time, make a compromise. The Pandavas are our own brothers, divide the kingdom with them." But Duryodhana's answer was always the same: "The throne is not meant to be shared." And then Vikarna made up his mind. He said to himself, "In the assembly, I stood for righteousness, and that was my duty. Now, on the battlefield, it is also my duty to stand with my brothers. This struggle between righteousness and duty will define who I am." The war began. For the first 10 days, Bheeshma Pitama led the army. Vikarna fought standing in the front line. His mace and the rain of his arrows stopped the Pandavas several times. On the 6th day, he fought a fierce battle with Sahadeva. Both were evenly matched, and in the end, both returned to their respective chariots. On the seventh day, he stopped Nakul but was impressed by Nakul's archery skills. On the 12th day, when Bhima devastated the army of elephants, Vikarna rallied his troops and defended the Kauravas. But the turmoil in his heart deepened with each passing day. With every arrow, he was reminded of Draupadi's cry. With every blow of his mace, he remembered the silence of the assembly.
On the 14th day, when Abhimanyu was trapped in the Chakravyuh, Vikarna was present there as well. He fought in the battle, but his heart was trembling. He wondered if it was right to kill a child alone like this. But the circumstances did not allow him to step back. On the 16th day, the decisive moment arrived. Bhima stood before him. There were tears in both their eyes because both knew that this war was not just between enemies but between brothers. Bhima said, "Vikarna, you are the noblest among the Kauravas. I do not wish to kill you. Step aside from my path." Vikarna smiled and said, "Back then it was my duty to take Draupadi's side. Today it is also my duty to stand with my brothers. Bhima, if I step aside now, that too would be unrighteous. So come, let us fight." Both were armed with maces. The earth trembled. The sky echoed with the sound. Vikarna faced every blow from Bhima. Seeing his skill, even Krishna silently admired him. But destiny had already been decided. Bhima delivered a decisive blow. The mace struck Vikarna's chest and he fell to the ground. At the moment of death, there was peace in his eyes. Bhima came to him and said, "Brother, even in defeat, you have become immortal. Among the Kauravas, you alone were the lamp of righteousness." Vikarna's body lay on the battlefield, but his legend lived on for ages to come. Vikarna's story reminds us of Kumbhakarna from the Ramayana. Kumbhakarna tried to reason with Ravana, but still stood by him in battle. Similarly, Vikarna warned Duryodhana, yet stood with his brothers on the battlefield. Both knew where the truth lay, but both still fulfilled their duty. History often remembers the victors, but the true warriors are those who stand for the truth even in defeat. Vikarna was defeated, but his truth still resonates today. His story teaches us that true bravery is not in the edge of the sword, but in the moment when we choose the side of truth, even if we stand alone. Such was Vikarna, the Kaurava warrior whom history forgot, but who became the voice of righteousness and left his mark for ages to come. This was just one chapter. Many more tales are hidden in the dust of history. In the next chapter, we will meet that great warrior whose very act of raising his sword made injustice tremble. Who was he, and how did his story become immortal in the pages of time? This will be revealed in the next chapter of The Great Warriors of the Ages.